it's really interesting because um, we have a park system behind us and they have these trails. They're beautiful wooded trails. And I like to take the dog on a walk. And so I used to come around a certain way. And if I was feeling really good, I'd take the big hill. But a lot of the times I would cheat and just take the shortcut because, it really took a lot. Telling you, I don't even have it. I don't think I have an increase in my heart rate.
Hey, Debbie, thanks so much for coming to spend some time with me today.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Oh, I'm looking forward to hearing your story, my friend. So can you start off with a little bit of a health history, like where you were prior to coming to QHS?
Well, I'm one of those lifers with something or another. It started when I was in my 20s. I was diagnosed with autoimmunity, and it's one of the rarer ones at the time. It was anyway, Sjogren's, and I kept getting the mumps, is what they thought, because my product gland would swell. And finally, an ENT is the one that figured it out. And yeah, so it kind of just went from there, one thing after another through the years. Autoimmunity has many twists and turns, ups and downs, twists and turns. They lead to things that you don't expect, even the doctors don't expect. So, for a while, it all went really well. I mean, I didn't have to have medication because I have dry eyes and dry mouth. I'd have to use some artificial tears, and I was always tired. Fatigue was probably my biggest complaint. Newly married, and that was tough. And then
It's
yeah.
so hard. I can't imagine being so young and having an illness like that.
It was, I think, because we were so busy, because we had kids right away, and then I had three. I lost one. Um, and I think that just we kept so busy. And then my husband ended up, I decided I needed to go back to school because I was going to nursing school.
Oh.
And my senior year, he got transferred out of state. So I had to give that up for a while and just, focus on the kids because he traveled.
Oh,
And,
wow.
and this condition, which really didn't give me much trouble, all of a sudden reared its ugly head because of all the stress of the move. And then my mother died.
Oh,
And
gosh.
so that's what really made it flare. So I fully appreciate and understand the relationship between stress and your health because I've lived it.
Yeah.
And
It's really truly because stress decreases your immunity.
and
When
exactly the
when a patient gets like say they get a kidney transplant, the doctors give them a cortisol producing drug because cortisol is the stress hormone, so that your body's immune system will shut down so that you don't reject the kidney.
yeah.
So right there, it should show everybody that stress is a killer,
But, and I will tell you this, I didn't realize it at the time, but I, as things have progressed through my life and my experiences, I realized that I have been protected and guided by what I would call God so that I don't offend anybody. But yeah, that is what I had, a guardian angel. I met a woman who was the director of a breast cancer support group, and she was in our women's club. And so she found out that I'd been sick and everything. And so she started talking to me about the mind body connection. And I am a reader, I'm a very avid reader. And I started researching and reading and got into Bernie Siegel and, all of this, and it was honestly, that was the beginning,
Wow.
of around, and I really took it seriously. So I didn't know that it was called vibration then to keep my
Mhm.
vibration high. I just knew that having a positive outlook, having, the glass is half full versus half empty, was the most important thing. And it made a
Yeah.
huge, then exercise, you know, as much as you can.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
that's good. So where were you when prior to like just before you got this or your first device, whichever it was?
well, I had in 2018, they found a cancerous polyp in my colon. So I had a right-sided colectomy and a lot of things. They found it's very rare. It's called amyloidosis. And it's so rare, in fact, that when I went to the Medical College of Wisconsin, the oncologist said, "We were anxious to see you because we don't have anybody else in the entire clinic that has this because it's so rare."
Wow.
Yeah, very strange. And so they did find, when they did a bone marrow uh, biopsy, they did find, a B cell lymphoma. So, I knew I had to trigger it. I needed to get going, need to step it up. And so then I got onto the gut health and, you know, and that made a huge difference. I mean, within the first year, they're called light chains and they become elevated in the presence of this disease and they drop by 20 points.
Nice.
Changing my diet, adding the probiotic regimen, that sort of thing. So when I started reading about alternative therapies, because I'm always looking, because I don't want to be on drugs. I hate pharmaceuticals because I'm really sensitive.
Mhm.
And if they give me something, I get sick from it. I'm the one that's, allergic to 3 different antibiotics. So, they look at me like, well, what are we going to do with you? If something is needed. But anyway, so I had read about the med beds, just the quote med beds and frequency healing and so forth. And one night I was in another room on Telegram, and you heard this story before. How people found Cynthia was with the Mel Carmine XRP show,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I immediately contacted her because I knew about the medical healing beds because I'd like listened to the other guy, Jared and that sort of
Mhm.
thing. And I didn't have any contact information. So I immediately went to her, and that's how it started.
Nice.
Yeah,
And when was that? So what was your first device that you received?
the belt.
Okay. So you were an early adopter.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I found out yesterday. Actually, I'm a flagship supporter. I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that
Those
was
are the
on
those were
because
the early days either way, right?
yeah, I just said I'm in. We're in. So we sent the money because we wanted this to go. And when you've done this your whole life, you just want to get rid
Yeah.
of it.
And what have
So
you noticed since you started using the various devices?
the very first thing that I noticed was that I had so much more energy. And not just that I could do things for longer, it also included, instead of putting something off, I thought, why don't I just do it? Because I can. When before I would put things off, because oh, I think that's going to be really hard. Because I always worried that I would overdo it. If I would overdo it, then the next day I was exhausted. So that's been a whole lifetime of that, of making sure, you know,
Yeah.
that I
Yeah, you're
so
pacing yourself.
always, always. So now it's really interesting because um, we have a park system behind us and they have these trails. They're beautiful wooded trails. And I like to take the dog on a walk. And so I used to come around a certain way. And if I was feeling really good, I'd take the big hill. But a lot of the times I would cheat and just take the shortcut because, it really took a lot.
Right.
This, I'm telling you, I don't even have it. I don't think I have an increase in my heart rate. I just go right up that hill, and that's how we come home every time now. It is amazing. Flights of
Wow.
stairs. That's because I have, well, I hate to say I have. I'm trying to use the right lingo because I'm learning this from the ladies in the chat. There is interstitial tissue in my lungs. So and I grew up in a smoker's home. So I've got reduced lung volume. So that was had impacted my ability, but the device is just, it's amazing what it's done.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's so cool. So you've got more energy, more stamina.
Mhm. And some concrete solid proof. I've always had low white blood cell, which is why I was always susceptible to infection. And
Mhm.
also, and this contributed to the fatigue, a low hemoglobin and a hematocrit, on a CBC. Like, normal is 5 to 10, and I was at 3.3 on a white blood cell.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and sometimes my hemoglobin would be as low as 9, and it should be like 12 to 18. Well, I just had it taken on April 1st, and I'm above normal on both of them for the first time in 45 years.
Wow, that's really concrete. You're
That
right.
concrete, that is objective proof that this is working.
That's so fun, isn't it?
It,
Just to
it was just amazing.
Yeah, I
Amazing.
got some shivers on that one.
Yeah, yeah, because I'm a science geek. So, to me, that was like, oh my gosh. It took from, because I did have it done right before Christmas and I didn't see much of a change. But I think in December, I got the larger device that loops faster. And I think that made a big difference.
Nice.
We never
That's
know where
wonderful.
we never know where it's working. You
Mhm.
know, I know it's working. I just know it's working. I don't concern myself. I just want to allow it to do its job. I don't focus on outcomes with this because I just know it's going to be a good outcome. I
Mhm.
complete faith.
And it's funny that you said that because I was doing energy healing work prior to coming to QHS, and part of the study that we were doing isn't about directing the energy, because the universal consciousness, God, knows where that energy needs to go, and we just need to get out of the way and
Exactly.
let it do its work.
Allowing, absolutely allowing is the biggest key because as humans, we really get in the way. We
Mhm.
we try to push it. And I will tell you that about probably 15 years ago, do you know who Napoleon Hill is?
Yeah, of course.
Mhm. How to make $1 million and all this. Well, one of the things that he said is to write down amount of money that you would like to get every month on a little piece of paper and put it in your wallet. Look at it every day. So I did that for a while. And then I started buying lottery tickets, because I thought, well, because I was worried about a retirement. My husband owns his own business and we've been through, you know, 2001, 2008. I mean, his business is just a small percentage of what it used to be. And then I stopped doing it and I just thought, well, you know, I just have this feeling if I let it go, something's going to happen because I have manifested like tickets. I have 2 horses and yeah, they're my mental health.
Aw.
uh, I wanted to go to see the World Cup in Las Vegas and the tickets are really expensive and so was the airfare. And we were not at a point where we could have done that. But I filled out this contest form and then I just put it away. Next thing you know, I get a call and I won the trip.
Nice.
This is what I'm talking about, allowing. And so when I put the little piece of paper in my wallet, I just kind of left it. Well, then the next thing you know, I was really trying to learn as much as I could about the COVID thing because I was pretty skeptical. I was a skeptic.
Me
Well,
too.
yeah, I because I worked in pharmaceutical sales. I knew that you could never go to a doctor and say, prescribe this. And then he's going to say, well, where's the safety data? Oh, well, we don't have any of that. It's made it just, yeah, it didn't make sense to me. So as I was researching this, that's when I found out about the RV.
Ah,
So I was actually in an RV room when I heard about Mel's thing. And the reason I was interested in Mel's thing is because he was talking about crypto. Because I thought, well, what's this crypto thing about? That's the only reason I went in there. I didn't know anything about Cynthia. It was to learn more about crypto.
well, there you go. It was all supposed to be that way so you can
And I said,
land here.
I am, yeah, yeah,
Heal yourself and then you can do the work. So what are you looking forward to now post QARC after you have all of these wonderful, experiences and knowledge to bring to the table with a youthful, healthy body this time around? What are you going to do with that? What excites you?
well, on a personal level, I want to be able to walk the dog with my husband because, when he goes through the arc, he's got bone on bone knee pain and type 2 diabetes.
Oh,
So just the fun. We've got this dog that we both love, a COVID dog, and to do it together because we've never been able to.
aw.
That I know that sounds silly, but that's a big thing. Um, I have the amyloids are on my legs. This disease comes out through the skin, so I basically look like a burn patient on my legs, and I have a few spots on other parts of my body. But to be able to go swimming with my grandchildren, I mean, wear a bathing suit and jump in the pool with them. I'm so excited about that. It just sounds
Aw.
like heaven on earth. Because they know, and then they're always like, "Oh, watch out for grandma's legs," because if you touch them, they open up pretty easy and bleed, and just ridiculous.
Oh,
Anyway,
wow.
yeah, yeah. So on a personal level, that's what I want to do. Then I know so many people who can benefit from this. I've tried to talk to people, and the cognitive dissonance is pretty big.
Mhm.
So unless you're somebody who's already interested in alternative healing, something other than Western medicine, I've gotten pretty much nowhere. I do have a friend who did buy a device, but I don't think they're using it the way they should. They're kind of passing it around the family because two of the kids have Lyme's. Um, so I just don't, I don't think that they're 100% convinced. So I want to be the testimony. I want to be that testimony that shows people that this is the future. You
Right.
know, that's my hope.
Oh, that'll happen. And for the Limes, I interviewed Kelly. Her story is big. It will make a huge impact on anybody with Lyme's disease.
Oh, wow. Because it's so prevalent. And especially the neurologic. That sounds so,
Oh, this girl, I mean, but she went from a level 10 of pain down to she says a 1+, like
wow.
barely none. So yeah, big time. So
Yeah.
I would share that with them. But also, obviously, you get out of the QARC and they see, so much younger, healthier. Your legs are going to be like a 30-year-old's legs,
Yeah.
so that'll be a huge impact.
I went to the rheumatologist just annually. I'm backing off of my medication because I'm feeling so much better. I just take one thing which by the way was hydrochloroquine. So during COVID, I wasn't worried. But anyway, before I found out the real deal. But I forgot what I was going to say. Hydrochloroquine. Oh, I went to see the rheumatologist, and they said, and this is a first too, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your pain level? I said 0.
Nice.
It was awesome. And then when I went to see the eye doctor, because one of the other things that developed was an case of iritis in my right eye, the iris becomes inflamed, and it pulls the retina away from the back of the wall. So you have, the risk of a detached retina. So I always have to take these 2 drops at night, one to keep the pressure down. It's almost like inflammatory glaucoma. And so I went to see the eye doctor, and I could never read the eye chart with that right eye. And I have monovision too from cataract surgery. But anyway, I could make out the top letter and part of the second row.
Wow, your vision improved like that?
Yes. And when they look, under the scope, they look for inflammatory cells. There were none. That's the first time I've had no inflammatory cells in 15 years.
Wow.
And of course, the doctor, you know how they are. It's the first time I'd seen this one because mine had retired. My other doctor would have been thrilled. She was just like, well, this may not be, something that's going to last. And I'm just like, what a downer. But anyway, so I was pretty excited.
Yeah, I would say I'm so tired of, I have like, what is it, bifocal contacts, plus I have to wear readers sometimes. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah. I've had the problem with my eyes since when we were first married with
Yeah.
the drug. So, yeah.
Well, that makes sense. How exciting for you though. That's a lot of change, Debbie.
Huge. Raynaud phenomena. Do you know what that is?
No.
You put your hand, if your hands get cold, not only do they, in this condition, they turn white and they ache like beyond belief. And so I noticed in March, it got kind of cold for a week there because, I spent a lot of time outside with the horses, and I forgot my gloves. And I looked at them and they were red, but they didn't hurt. And I thought, wow, that's a huge change. Because what happens is the vascular, so it just like closes up because of the cold and causes the shooting pain. So that is resolved. I mean, I still don't like to wash chicken under the cold water or something, I'm careful about that because anybody's hand gets cold and doing that, But yeah, so just all kinds of little things, like this thing is just busy. It's just going like up and down all day long, just looking and looking and what can I fix here? What can I fix here? And,
Yeah, that's wonderful. Isn't that fun? I mean, that we get to play with that.
I know. I'm getting ready. When Dr. A said that exercise increases the blood flow and helps you flush out the bad stuff faster, then I was like, okay, doggy, we're going up the hill.
Good.
You're going to pump it faster and pump it out faster, so.
Yeah. And we get rid of toxins through our breath, through our sweat, we excrete it. People don't even think about how much waste product comes out of your breath. So that's important, So breathing heavy, walking up a hill, that's a good thing.
Yeah. The dry mouth hasn't gotten much better. I only have 3 of my own teeth left. Because people with dry mouth are very susceptible to dental caries. So I have implants. So at the very beginning, I don't think you were part of this. The questions were, what are we going to do about the metal in our bodies? And fortunately, Dr. A said not to worry about it.
Yeah, I think he said it will become your own because I have a dental implant back here. I broke a tooth and didn't want a, whatever you call it, root canal. And so I have a dental implant back here, but I think I heard him say it will just, instead of being titanium, it will all of a sudden convert into your own tissue.
It's amazing. It's
right?
Beyond. Yeah.
That's
So
exciting.
looking forward to post QR. I've been working with a group for the last 3 years on how to create our projects and be ready to go. And one of my projects, of course, is going to be a healing center. And then I don't even know, I need to contact Cynthia. Where I live is where Dr. Monlock lives. And so one of the first calls when Cynthia said, Dr. Monlock, are you on? And I looked at Jim and I said, could there be two Dr. Monlock?
I don't think so.
Came on the screen. I've known her for over 20 years. So yeah, she's the one that's doing the blood work. So she's pretty
Ah,
good. So I'm going to help her with her clinics. I'm helping a friend. I have a couple of friends that I'm helping to get all their projects together. We really want to focus on using this technology, yes, for the PTSD. So that's why I want to talk to Cynthia. I don't know if this applies to the Valor project, but not only using the technology for PTSD, addiction, alcoholism, depression, anxiety, that sort of thing. But, when these things happen and we've witnessed it, it affects the entire family.
mhm.
Uh, that unit is broken and damage is done, and find a way to put them back together somehow, you know, help them because their brains are affected. If you have diabetes, if you have cancer, you are not the only person in the family who has it. It's a family event,
Yeah.
affect.
Yeah.
So that's our goal with that particular project, is to use the frequency technology
Mhm.
uh, to help families,
Yeah.
because the breakdown of the family is, in my opinion, the majority of why we are where we are in society.
Agreed.
So, you know, and then
Definitely.
I've got a global project you know, and then help Dr. Mandla to get hers going because I think she wants to put up three in three different locations. So,
Nice. Well, we haven't met yet or laid out all the stuff. I'm sure you read the post this morning that she's wanting to do the design of the building and all of that. But I'm definitely going to be on that team. So stay tuned for details forthcoming. It's
yeah,
exciting times.
there's a woman in this group that I am part of who was a project manager. So she's been reviewing everything. We submit, our ideas, and then she helps us fine tune them. Well, what she's telling us is that there's this huge duplication and effort, because everybody wants to help animals. Everybody wants to help, what we want to do with the family, well, maybe not the way that we're trying to do it. And she said there's a huge duplication. So it's kind of interesting. We're all thinking
Yeah.
alike. We all,
I believe that though, because there's all these, like I said to Cynthia, I feel like the term medbed is like the term car. And then you have all these different brands of cars and they all seem to be doing really well. So in my opinion, we have an abundant world that we're stepping into, and there's going to be plenty for everyone. And so
going,
we just happen to be the first ones coming to the table.
I know. It
So
is like
excited.
yes, very excited.
Awesome. Well, Debbie, thank you so much for coming to spend some time with me, sharing your story. And I absolutely look forward to having you back for a part 2,
Okay, sounds
post
great.
Q arc.
All right, thanks.